All right, so picture this. You're walking down the street, right? Billboards everywhere you look. You're scrolling through Instagram, and what happens? A YouTube video auto plays in the background.
Totally. It's like we're swimming in media these days.
It's inescapable, right? But what if I told you it's not just background noise? What if it's like this mirror?
Oh, I like where you're going with this.
A mirror reflecting .us.
That's exactly the point Fritz Coley makes in this article we're diving into. He argues that all this media, it's not just surface-level stuff. It reflects something way deeper. He's talking about our ego, not just individually, but like as a whole society.
So how does that work? Are we just narcissists constantly looking at ourselves?
Well, he ties it into this idea of positive repression. He says in our kind of go-getter capitalist world, that's what's feeding our ego.
Positive repression. Okay, now I have to explain that one. How can repression, which sounds kind of, well, negative, be positive?
It's a bit of a head-scratcher, right? But the way Coley puts it is, we're always being told we need more. Bigger house, faster phone, more followers, you name it. More. And media, well, plays a huge role in this whole thing, just fueling those desires and anxieties too.
So instead of someone saying, like, don't do that, it's more like we're being, I don't know, nudged in that direction.
Exactly. It's subtle.
Without even realizing it, we're being steered towards always wanting more.
It's like we're all in this game, and the only way to win is to, you guessed it, accumulate more stuff. But those goalposts, they keep moving further and further away. The more we believe that happiness equals having more, well, the more we're feeding the system that keeps us feeling like we don't have enough. Coley really makes you think about how media and capitalism are kind of in cahoots, keeping us hooked on this chase.
It's a bit unsettling when you put it like that, but it's true. We've got all this amazing technology, right? More ways to connect, consume information than ever before.
Right. More. But here's the question. Are we really in control?
Or are these bigger forces, as Coley calls them, conditioning us?
That is the million-dollar question. Think about it. Pretty much everyone has a smartphone. Internet usage is, through the roof. We're more connected than ever.
You can say that again.
But that idea of agency, truly choosing what we consume and how it affects us, that's what Coley really wants us to think about.
It really makes you think about all the hype around AI, especially that whole age of abundance thing.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, the idea that robots will do all the work and we'll just, like, kick back and enjoy life. It's a nice thought, but...
Sounds like a dream come true, doesn't it?
In theory, sure.
Oh.
But I'm curious, what's Coley's take on that whole AI utopia vision? Is it all it's cracked up to be?
Well, Coley doesn't exactly sugarcoat things. He gets real about how AI is being built right now. And let's just say it's not all sunshine and roses.
Okay, so what's the catch?
Well, he talked about these ghost workers.
Ghost workers?
Yeah, basically this huge workforce, mostly in developing countries,
Right.
and they're the ones training the AI, cleaning up the data. The thing is, they're doing it for incredibly low wages. Like, we're talking a few dollars an hour, sometimes even less.
Seriously, a few dollars an hour. That's like less than some people spend on coffee in a day. It doesn't sound very utopian for them.
Exactly, and that's Coley's point. It's like, we're just shifting the exploitation around.
Oh.
Out of sight, out of mind, right? He actually connects this back to, you guessed it, positive repression.
Oh, there it is again. I knew it would circle back around. Okay, so remind me how those two things go together again, ghost workers and positive repression.
So remember how we talked about how during the Industrial Revolution, those in power realized that constantly cracking the whip wasn't as effective as making people want more?
Right. Even if it meant they were stuck, always chasing, but never really getting there.
It's all about subtle control. And in a way, that's what's happening now with AI. We're being sold this idea of a better future powered by technology. But meanwhile, there's this whole segment of the workforce stuck in the shadows, doing the tough jobs for practically nothing.
So we're dazzled by the promise of AI and all that, but we don't see the real cost.
It's easy to get caught up in the hype, for sure. But Coley wants us to see the bigger picture. To ask ourselves, is AI truly going to benefit everyone, or are we just replicating the same power imbalances we've always struggled with?
It's like that saying, right? The more things change, the more they stay the same. So are we saying that today's tech giants with all their AI promises are basically the new factory owners?
That's a provocative way of putting it. Cole doesn't necessarily use those exact words, but he definitely wants us to see the parallels. He's urging us to be more discerning, to look beyond the shiny surface of new technologies and consider their real-world impact.
It's a good reminder that progress isn't always a straight line, right?
Absolutely.
There can be some pretty significant bumps along the way.
Coley's insights are so important because he's not just analyzing the technology itself. He's looking at the social, the economic, even the psychological forces that shape how we use and are, in turn, used by technology.
It's like a two-way street. We shape our tools, and then our tools shape us.
Yeah. Exactly. And that gets to the heart of what we're talking about. This desire for control, this idea that we are the ones calling the shots, steering the ship when it comes to technology. Coley, he asks us to consider, what if we're not quite as in control as we think we are?
Okay, now that is a thought. You're blowing my mind here. So you're saying AI, it's not just about us using it, it's also about AI, in a way, using us, like shaping our thoughts, our desires, even our understanding of what it means to be human.
It's a heady concept, for sure, but Coley backs it up. He argues that just like with writing, the printing press, the internet, AI has a way of taking on a life of its own. It shapes our world in ways we don't even fully grasp yet.
Okay, hold on. Now you're really making me think of The Matrix.
Oh.
Is it time for the red pill yet?
Funny you should mention that, because Coley brings up cave paintings, of all things.
Cave paintings. Okay, now I'm even more lost. We were just talking about AI taking over the world, and now we're going back, what, thousands of years? Help me out here.
Trust me, it all connects. And that's what makes Coley's work so fascinating. So picture this. Those ancient artists working by firelight, creating those incredible images on cave walls.
It's amazing to think about what drove them, right?
Exactly. And that's where Coley gets deep. He says those cave paintings weren't just early forms of art. They were expressions of something primal, something beyond the everyday. He even suggests they might have been tapping into what Carl Jung called the collective unconscious.
The collective unconscious. Okay, now you're just using big words to make me feel smarter.
Don't worry, I'll explain. It's basically this idea that there are these shared images, these archetypes, that exist across cultures and throughout history. They're like embedded in our collective psyche or something.
So like a universal language?
Sort of. And Coley links this idea to the evolution of media itself.
Okay, I'm listening.
He brings in the work of this media theorist, Friedrich Kittler, who argued that every big technological leap we make, whether it's the written word, the printing press, or the digital age, changes not just what we create, but how we think, like fundamentally.
So it's not just that we invent new technologies, those technologies actually change the way our brains work.
That's the gist of it. Kittler believed these technologies are more than just neutral tools. They shape our consciousness itself.
Wow, that's a lot to process. So if I'm understanding correctly, it's not just that we're using AI, it's that AI is, in a way, using us. It's guiding our thoughts, influencing our desires, even shaping our very understanding of what it means to be human.
You got it. It's a pretty mind-blowing concept.
Mind-blowing and a little terrifying, to be honest.
It's a lot to take in, for sure. But Coley's message isn't one of despair. He argues that the goal isn't to eliminate our ego or swear off technology altogether, but to become aware of its influence. When we understand how it operates, how it clings to control, we can make more conscious choices.
So it's all about finding that balance, right? Embracing technology, but not letting it control us.
Exactly. It's about finding that inner freedom that can't be given or taken away by any external force, whether it's a social media algorithm or a self-help guru.
Easier said than done, am I right? But seriously, I think you've given us a lot to think about today.
Glad to hear it. These are important conversations to be having.
As we wrap up our deep dive, what's the one big takeaway you hope listeners will carry with them?
I think if media truly is this mirror reflecting ourselves, then the current state of AI, with all its potential for both incredible good and potential harm, should give us all pause. What does it say about humanity that we've created something so powerful, yet we're still grappling with the same age-old issues of exploitation, control, and the search for meaning?
It's a question worth pondering for sure. As we venture further into this age of AI, the real question might not be, are we the masters of our creations, but rather, are we becoming the machines we've built?
That's a great question. And I think the first step is, as we've been doing today, asking the right questions.
And on that note, we'll leave you to ponder those questions. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep those thinking caps on.